Thank you very much for accepting my request.
Oh, that is so great to hear from you. As you know, my name is Ashley and you are Neetu, is that right?
That's right, Neetu. Yes, that's great.
Very
Thank
nice to
you.
meet you.
You
If I
too.
remember correctly, you are calling from Thailand, is that right?
That's right. I'm in Bangkok, in
What time
Thailand.
is it for you
So
there?
here it's 7 a.m. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Wow, 12-hour difference. For me, it is 7 p.m.
Oh, I
But
see. Right.
Thursday.
So how's your day been today, Ashley?
Very good. I live in
Yes.
Peru in South America, and I
Okay.
actually live in the desert. So it is very hot right now. This is our
Wow.
summer season. December,
Yes,
January, February is very, very hot.
I see. So how hot does it get? What kind of temperature?
In the summertime, 38, 39, 40 degrees Celsius.
Wow. Yes.
And the worst part is no air conditioning.
Oh, I see. Oh
Air
my
conditioning is
goodness.
not common in Peru, so it's a little
Yeah.
tough only with the fan.
Oh, I'm sure. Maybe sleeping would be very difficult as well. Yeah.
Yes,
Sleeping.
it definitely is. Yes.
Yeah.
Air conditioning is just not common in Peru. Many people either can't afford it or they don't like it because they associate it with getting sick, getting a cold,
Oh,
getting the flu, allergies. So it's very rare.
mm,
If you
yeah.
go, for example, to the local Starbucks or
Yes.
an American style restaurant, you can find air conditioning, but only there.
I see. Wow. Okay. Can I just ask you, actually, just to like introduce yourself? Is that okay? Yeah.
Of course,
Thank you.
absolutely. So,
Mhm.
as you know, my name is Ashley. I'm from the United States. I was born in New York City, but when I was just a baby, my parents took me to live in Tennessee in a very small town, only about 60, 70,000 people.
Right.
My second language is Spanish. My parents took me to do volunteer work to Ecuador, South America, when I was 5 years old, and they put me in school there. We stayed for 1 year and a half. So, English
Hmm.
is my native language. I prefer it, but I am very fluent in Spanish as well.
Yes.
And now I live in Peru. I have been here for 15 years. My husband is from Peru.
Yes.
And right now, as I said, I do live in the desert, but previously I've lived in the capital city and also in the mountains.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Thank you so much. So, my name is Neetu and I live in Bangkok in Thailand. I've been here for 14 years. I have my husband and three boys. So, yeah, two of them are here with me and one lives in London. So, I grew up in London. I moved from India when I was 3 years old and we settled in London. So, my parents have been there for 50 years. Yeah. So, we moved for their job, really. Yeah. So yeah, it's really nice to meet you. Thank you. So I have never been to South America. So could you tell me like what
Oh.
is Peru like? I've only heard things and watched things on YouTube and things like that. So how would you describe life in Peru? Yeah.
To begin with, Peru has three very, very different regions. We have the coastal desert, which
Right.
borders the Pacific Ocean. It is not a tropical coast like you might think of, like in Hawaii or Brazil. It's a coastal desert, very dry, very barren, and it leads right to the ocean. All of the major big cities in Peru are located in that region.
Yeah.
It's not very good for agriculture or practical. However,
Right.
when the Spanish conquered Peru, that's where they built their cities because it was convenient for ships traveling to and from Spain. So
Okay.
that's the main commercial hub of Peru, the coastal desert. But
Right.
Peru also has the Andes Mountains. Maybe you've heard of Machu Picchu.
Yes, yes.
The Andes Mountains, there are cities, smaller cities, but at 3,000, even 4,000 or a little bit more meters above sea level.
Wow.
And then
Yes.
to the northeast, we have the Amazon rainforest, very tropical, humid, hot all year round, quite
Mhm.
isolated. So those three different regions are all very different, different cuisines,
Okay.
even a little bit of cultural differences in each one.
That's amazing. So I saw in your profile that your husband is from Peru. Is that right? He's
Yes, he is. Hmm.
Oh, so is that what inspired you to kind of try life there, or was it always a plan of yours to move there?
I came to Peru as a teenager when I was 17 to do volunteer work.
Oh, I
And
see.
I liked it. It was an adventure. I enjoyed it. And I stayed and I decided to become an English teacher here. I
Mhm.
worked in schools, in language centers, and later as a private teacher. Later on, I met my husband. He is also an English teacher. And I'm still here today, 15 years down the road.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. So how often do you go back to so I saw that you were born in New York and you lived in
Mhm.
Tennessee. So you've lived in many different places. So where is your family now actually? Where is like your extended family?
They're split between New York and Tennessee. My mother's family, aunts, uncles, cousins are in New York, and my father's family are in the South in Tennessee. Tennessee is where I consider home. When I think of home, I think of Tennessee.
I see. Wow. So what would you say, like in terms of your childhood, what would you say? Can you think of like a memory, a really fond memory that you have of growing up in Tennessee?
I love it.
Mm,
Tennessee is in the mountains, the Appalachian
mm,
Mountains, a lot of nature. I grew
mm,
up on a farm there. We had cows, goats, pigs, chickens, all of that. My fondest memories are actually my husband really doesn't like it because it's not common in Peru, but
mm.
hunting.
Oh, I
In
see.
Tennessee, it is very common even for young children to go hunting. So
Okay.
I would go with my father deer hunting, raccoon
Mhm.
hunting, rabbit hunting, and
Mm,
I
yes.
loved being in the outdoors like that. Of
Mm,
course, we would always eat everything that we hunted, and so I was used to that
yes.
country lifestyle.
Right. Oh, that sounds great. So it's very much an outdoors life, enjoying
Yes.
nature. Yeah. Is it a
Mhm.
mountainous area as well? Are there many mountains?
It is not at all like the Andes Mountains in Peru there. They are quite, I think we could maybe more accurately describe them as hills, large
Okay.
hills.
Yeah.
Maybe I would just a rough guess, I would say maybe 1,000, 1,500 meters above sea level at most. So not
Yeah.
big mountains, high altitude, no. But a
Yes.
lot of forest. It's very dense forest with bears, coyotes, foxes, very dense forest.
Wow. So do you think that's inspired you to like love animals after that? Yeah.
Absolutely. I have a very bad habit of rescuing many animals here in Peru. There are many stray animals. I
Oh,
recently
sounds like a
rescued a
great habit.
kitten. I grew up loving animals, definitely.
Oh, how lovely. Yeah. Do you have your own pets at home as well?
Two cats. Yes, I
Okay.
have. I recently rescued where I live in the desert. In
Yeah.
this city, for some reason, there are hundreds of stray cats. It's similar to what many
Okay.
people say Istanbul in Turkey is like. Many people
Right.
say there's so many. I mean, my city is like that. So I rescue them or I help my friends rescue them quite often. But I have two that are
Yeah.
mine.
Oh, that's amazing. So Tennessee's in the south, isn't it? It's like the deep,
Yes.
deep south.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what is the kind of traditional food that you would have in Tennessee?
It's funny, a lot of people, especially in Peru, they say American food, hamburger, hot dog, pizza.
Right.
But no, in Tennessee, traditional food would involve one meat. Pork
Yeah.
or chicken are the most common. We don't consume so much beef in
Yeah.
Tennessee. Pork
Yeah.
or chicken.
Yeah.
Normally two vegetables. And
Okay.
the carbohydrate would normally be bread, very traditional to make. I think in the UK, biscuits are what we would say like cookies,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for us, the biscuits are like the bread that we make that's like a soft
Mhm.
roll, or
Oh, I see.
cornbread. So normally we have some kind of meat, two veggies, and then a bread, a piece of bread that we make.
I see. And who like did the cooking at home? Were you someone like did you enjoy cooking growing up or was it like your mom or your dad?
I was very much a tomboy, so I hated cooking. I liked hunting and being out in the forest, but I did not like cooking. My mom, she would do the cooking most of the time. She's a very good cook.
I see, right. And is there any food that's slightly spicy, or do you put chilies in anything, or is it generally mild food?
In Tennessee, unfortunately, no. Speaking, for example, to my grandmother, great grandmother, they said that growing up, literally, they only ever used salt, pepper, salt,
Yeah.
black pepper, and onion. That was it. Like
Okay.
nothing else. No other spices or herbs. So no.
Yeah, I see. But I guess sometimes that mild seasoning brings out the taste of the food. Yeah.
Yeah, we do
Yeah.
like a lot of barbecue sauce.
Mm.
A lot of people have like a simple chicken or pork, but then they, smother it with the sauce, so that gives it flavor. Quite
Right.
different from Peru, where it's very, very seasoned, a lot of spices, peppers, very, very different
Yeah.
cuisine.
Wow. So what would be Peruvian food? What kind of food is traditional?
Each Peruvians are extremely proud of their food. They consider it the best in the world. Recently, I believe it was on CNN that there was a list of the world's best restaurants, and the first and I believe the third were in Peru.
Yeah.
Peruvians are so proud, very varied. Peru, I think one of their most famous foods would be ceviche. Maybe you've heard of ceviche. A lot of South
Yeah.
American countries have it. It's raw
I
fish
see.
cooked
Right.
with
Okay.
cooked with lime juice and peppers.
Yes.
Very popular.
Mhm.
In the mountains, they actually do enjoy a delicacy is guinea pig.
Okay.
A
Right.
whole fried guinea pig is very common. And then in the Amazon rainforest, a lot of freshwater fish is very popular,
I
as well as
see.
so many fruits that I've never even seen before in my life. There's such a variety of exotic fruits and
Mhm.
vegetables in the jungle, too.
Oh, that's great. So it really depends on the region, what's available, if it's near the coast or yeah. So do you
Yeah.
have a preference when it comes to food? Like, do you prefer fish or meat, or are you vegetarian? Yeah.
No, I'm not vegetarian at all. I wish I was, but I do love meat. My
Yeah.
husband and I normally we eat a Peruvian average cuisine, which includes rice, meat, maybe beans, potatoes, and a salad.
Okay.
That's a very traditional Peruvian meal, very
Yes.
well seasoned. They like a lot of sauces and peppers and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds great. And actually, in terms of languages, so you know Spanish, and so did you, when you were growing up, did you speak Spanish at home as well as English, or was it mainly one or the other?
English was always the one that we would go to, but my parents always would try to make a rule that today we only speak Spanish at
I
home. And
see.
we
Yes.
would try, I would say growing up, it was probably about 70% English, 30% Spanish
Okay.
at home.
Right. Yeah. So you find it easy to switch between the languages, is that right?
I
Yeah.
do. My husband and I do 50-50 at home. We switch
Mm.
between both. It can result in
Okay.
some confusion though, because without wanting to, at times I forget an English word.
Yeah.
And then at other times I forget a Spanish word because I'm constantly switching.
I see. How would you say Spanish is as a language? So my children are learning it at school and they love it. They say it's such a great language to speak and to listen to. How would you describe the language? Is it quite easy to pick up, would you say?
I think it is. I think the
Mm,
grammar is the toughest one for an English speaker because
right.
Spanish does have masculine and feminine.
Okay. Right.
And we also have formal you and informal you based on who you're talking to, and that changes the grammar. So if I'm speaking to
Okay.
an older person, I need to use the formal you pronoun, and I also will
Yes.
change my verb conjugation based on that. But if I'm speaking to someone my own age or younger, I use the informal you and change my grammar as well. So I think that
Mhm.
might be a little bit tough for some.
Right.
But as a language, the vocabulary and so on, I think it's not too challenging.
Yes, that's good. Oh, similar to French then. They have the kind of the
Yeah.
tu and the vous, depending on who you're speaking to. Yeah, it's similar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
wow.
right. Yes.
Oh, that's
What I would
great.
say about Spanish is I recommend if you're going to learn Spanish, it's a good idea to know what
Yeah.
country you're going to be using it most from. Because
Mhm.
there are big differences in the many Spanish speaking countries. A word that is very inappropriate in one country might mean banana in another.
Yeah.
The accent and even the grammar. Spain, Argentina, Uruguay use a different grammar style compared to the other Spanish speaking countries. So
I
it's a
see.
good idea. If you have an idea, I will be working with people from this country, or I will move to this country to focus on that country's Spanish if possible.
Yes, I see. Yeah. So there are different dialects and different. Yeah. Mm.
Yes, it's very easy once you get used to it to just listen and automatically know that
Yeah.
person is Puerto Rican, that person is Venezuelan, that person's Argentinian, because
Right.
you can definitely understand each other, but it's
Yes,
very noticeable for sure.
I see. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I think so. Last summer we went to Austria and we had a friend there who's from Germany, who's now settled in Austria. And she was saying the German they speak in Germany is quite different to Austrian German. So I think it's a similar thing. And people recognize straight away that she's not Austrian. Yeah. So
Mm.
that's a similar thing.
What
Right.
about with British English? I've always
Yeah.
heard like there's a different accent in
Yeah.
Surrey or in the north. Is it big differences or just small accent
Yeah,
changes?
yes. I mean, the London accent is like the neutral, the RP accent,
Okay.
which I don't know. I would say it's quite easy to understand, but there are other
Hmm.
parts like northern England, Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham, where the accent is quite pronounced. Yeah,
Mm.
um, and yeah, I think for me as well. I think maybe because I've lived in Thailand so long, when I hear the accent, I have to really focus now more than I
Mm.
did when I was living there. Yeah, but I guess every place is unique, and they have their own kind of their warm expressions and their phrases and their food. So yeah, it's all interesting in different ways. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it easy for you to adapt to living in Thailand?
It was for a few months, it was quite tricky, I have to say, because everything is so different culturally, the
Mm.
weather and the food. And we had never visited before we came here. So it was a brand new experience. Like we've been to other parts of um, we've been to like Singapore, Malaysia, but not to Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a bit unknown. But when we came here, we really liked the people. They're really warm and friendly. We like the food, the culture, and there are many people from other countries here, many expats. So it became quite easy to kind of adjust and settle. Yeah, I would say the main thing was the weather. That was quite different. Yeah, just the humid kind of weather. And we had our first Christmas here, which was quite strange in the heat. Yeah, we're so
Oh
used to
yes.
like cold. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. I tell my husband here it will be 40 degrees Celsius and I see like images of Santa Claus and hear
yeah.
Christmas music and I tell him it feels so off. It just feels
I
really
see.
weird to me.
Yeah, it's kind of to get your mind around it is quite difficult at first. But I would
Yes.
say there are so
Yeah.
many benefits, so many advantages to living in a different culture, experiencing life, in a different, you look
Hmm.
at life in a different way, I think. And just in terms of my children going to an international school, meeting people from 55 nationalities. So they have friends from all over the world, which is great. And I think it's really opened their eyes as well to different
Hmm.
cultures. Yeah, and different food. They'll come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they'll come back saying, "Oh, can we
Yeah.
try this Japanese food, or can we go to this restaurant in Bangkok?" So I think it's given them a lot of exposure, which is good. Yeah.
I think it makes a huge difference. My husband was born and
Mm,
raised in the capital city of Peru.
I
And he
see.
never left the capital city all of his life until we got married. He was there. And
Yeah.
for me, when we started to move to different cities in Peru, it was
Mm.
much easier for me to adapt than him. And it's
Mm.
because when I was a child, my parents had taken me to Ecuador and other places. So I was used to
Yeah.
trying new food, new things, whereas he was more
Yeah.
hesitant because he didn't have that experience.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So you become quite adaptable, don't you, when you move to different places? Um, and I think sometimes it's harder for adults than it is for children. We always worry about children that maybe, they won't
Yeah.
settle in a place, but they end up kind of finding their feet somehow, which is great. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
that's
I
great.
noticed for me, we went to Ecuador when I was 5 years old for
Mm,
1 year and a half. Then when I was 11, we went for one more year. And then when I was 17, we came to Peru. And I noticed that the younger I was, the easier it was. Because
Yay.
each time when I was older, it was a little
Mm.
bit more challenging. Each time
Right.
it's like I noticed more cultural differences. I struggled a
Yes.
little bit more. The
Yeah,
younger I was, it was so natural. Not like you don't even think about it. You just
that's
adapt. And
true.
so it was
Yeah.
nice.
How did you find like the friendship part of it? So one part is like when you leave a place, you build up friends in that place. Did you find that more difficult as you got older or when you were younger? Mm.
Definitely as I got older. When I was a kid, when I was 5, it
Yeah.
was just natural. I go to school and I didn't even speak the language. And at that time, no one spoke any English in Ecuador, any, like
Mm.
not the teacher, no one. So
Right.
I did not know anything. And of course, the first day you just make friends, you just play together, communicate
Okay.
any way you
Mhm.
can.
Mm.
As I was getting older, though, I could make friends, but I would notice a lot more cultural differences. And I would
Okay.
be more vocal about it to my parents. Like, why do they
Right.
do this? In the States, we don't do that.
I
Whereas
see.
when I was 5 and 6 years old, I didn't notice. So it depended
Yes,
on how
yes,
old I
that's
was.
true. What would you say, Ashley, is different and similar between, so they're both in South America, Peru and Ecuador. So what would you say are the main differences that you noticed and the similarities?
Well, between Peru and Ecuador, they are extremely similar. They
Mm.
share a border. They are very, very similar cultures. I don't see many differences among them.
Right.
I feel like in South America, you can
Mm.
separate three general cultures. Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay are much
Mhm.
more leaning toward a European culture.
I see.
The cuisine, the speech, that certain habits lean much more European.
Mm-hmm.
Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador lean much more toward an Andean indigenous culture, traditional culture.
Okay.
Whereas Colombia, Venezuela, and Brazil, they lean more toward a tropical culture. Very
Mm-hmm.
happy people that love dancing and bright clothes. So you
Right.
can kind of separate in South America, and you can notice cultural differences like that between them.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. And how about in terms of clothes? Are there traditional clothes in Peru that people wear, or would you say it's changed? No.
And there are still people who wear traditional clothes, the same in Ecuador.
Mm-hmm.
However, something that I have noticed, there there still is a lot of discrimination against people who are perceived to be indigenous
I
and
see.
people who are perceived to be more, I would say, like more towards Spanish, like
Okay.
even based on your last name.
Right.
People listen to your last name and they think, oh, like that's an indigenous last name. They don't respect that person so much. But if they hear that you have more of a Spanish, European sounding last name, then they think that's better. So a lot of people, even especially younger generations, feel ashamed. They
Right.
don't speak
Mm-hmm.
their native language, Quechua,
Mm-hmm.
for example. They say no. Even if they speak it, they will say no, no. I just want to speak Spanish. They don't
Right.
wear traditional clothes
Yes.
because of that discrimination.
Right. Yeah, I see. So with your family, Ashley, so you know, how often do you go back to the US? Do you go every year or more often?
Every other year, every other
Mm,
year for two
I
months.
see. Yeah. And do you have a particular season or a time that you visit? Uh,
I always go in summer because my parents have vacation. But
right.
if I could choose, I 100% choose autumn. The
Okay.
autumn in Tennessee, because it's such dense forest, the leaves, when they change, there are people who drive even from like New York City or Chicago just to see the leaves change. So I wish I
Wow.
would go in autumn.
Oh, that sounds great. So the leaves shed and they change colors. It's similar to the UK, I
Yes.
guess, but I can imagine being in a forest. It must be stunning to see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's my favorite season in Tennessee
Oh,
for
that's
sure.
lovely. Wow. So do you have brothers and sisters as well, Ashley?
No, I'm an only child.
I see. Right. How about cousins and other extended family?
Several cousins, I believe 10 in total.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
closer to a few than others. I grew up closer to some than others. New
Yeah.
York is about a 12-hour drive away from
Yeah.
Tennessee. So my mother's family in New York, we only visited maybe
Yeah.
once a year, every other year, but I grew up closer to my cousins in Tennessee.
Yes, I see. And have some of them been over to visit you in Peru? So,
One of my cousins has.
okay.
Unfortunately, she got very sick, so she did not enjoy it, but she has been
Oh,
to visit me twice.
right. That's great. Wow. And actually, where do you see yourself in the future? Do you see yourself staying in Peru, or would you like to live in a different area or country?
I see myself living in Peru
Mhm.
until my parents need us to take care of them.
Right.
I'm an only child. My parents are still very young. My mother
Yeah.
is 53, my 54. So they are still
Mm.
young, working. But in the
Yeah.
future, eventually, when they do need someone to take care of them, we would move to Tennessee. In the
Yeah.
meantime, I see myself and my husband continuing to live in Peru, but not anymore in the
Mm.
desert. I would like in a year or so to move to the mountains.
I see. So that would be a totally different experience, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yes, but I definitely prefer it. The weather
Yeah.
is so much better in the mountains.
I see. Wow. And how about your husband's family? Are they in Peru as well?
They are. They all live in the
Yeah,
capital city
I see.
in
Wow.
Lima.
What are the main, do you have like festivals where you would all get together or that you would celebrate with your husband?
Not really.
Mhm.
Nothing particular. In Peru, they do celebrate. My husband's family don't, but it is very
Mm.
popular. Maybe you've heard of Carnival in Brazil.
Yes, that's what we think of when we think of Brazil, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Peru, Ecuador, and many South American countries also celebrate, but in a very different way, but at the same time of year in February.
Mhm.
Some cities more than others. My husband and I and his family, we don't celebrate, but it is a big occasion for those who do.
I see. So how would you describe Carnival to like someone who hasn't been? What do you say it?
Very, very different from Brazil. In Brazil, we think of like the parades and the music
Mhm.
and the costumes.
Yeah.
In Ecuador and in Peru, it is celebrated a lot. I'm not sure why. They love to have water and peasantry. If you look in
Yeah.
Google, for example, I will type it
Yeah.
here in the chat, Cajamarca, Peru, and you put
Okay.
Carnaval. There is one day where everything closes,
Right.
everything, and you can't leave your house if you don't want to be covered in paint. It
I
doesn't matter
see.
if you're a police officer, an old
Yeah.
woman, a young child. It's like a big party in the street. Music
Oh,
and throwing paint. It is water-based paint, but
yeah.
still, it
I
gets all over
see.
the buildings. And people love
Yeah.
throwing water balloons during that month. If you're in the street, you probably will get hit with a water balloon. So we have that
Okay.
a lot.
Yeah. So here in Thailand for the Thai New Year, which is called Songkran, so that's in April, they have a water festival. So people throw buckets of water and they have different kind of hose pipes and things and they stand on the roadside and they spray everyone. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they actually say if you don't want to get wet, you shouldn't leave your house. You should just like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We do the same, especially in 1 week. They say don't leave your house if you don't want to get wet because
Right.
people are on the rooftops because they are flat roofs throwing water balloons or buckets. So you have
I
to be
see.
careful.
So it's all fun, isn't it? Yeah, it's really good
Yes,
fun.
yes.
Yeah. So would it be
I-
adults and children that take part in that?
Absolutely, especially
Yeah.
young adults, but
Right.
everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh, that's
Our time
fantastic.
is finishing. I'm so sorry, but it was
It's
lovely
been
to
so
meet
lovely.
you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I really enjoyed talking to you. Yeah.
Likewise, I hope you have a
Yeah.
great evening.
You
Take
too.
care.
Have a great
Bye.
day. Bye bye.